I'm sorry! I'm sorry! Welcome!
Number 20, Zodiac. Taking place across decades, Zodiac is about the search for the titular killer, whose identity is shrouded in mystery. The psychological thriller establishes the criminal's streak of madness as he claims innocent lives and stirs up interest in who he is.
You know, if he comes any closer, I might be able to get that gun.
Shh. Don't get any ideas.
I'm not.
I killed a guard escaping from prison in Montana.
I'm not doing anything, okay?
I'm not afraid to kill again.
Starring Jake Gyllenhaal, Robert Downey Jr., and Mark Ruffalo, each protagonist quickly finds themselves engrossed in the investigation. The film's pacing is kept deliberately slow to create a sense of paranoia among viewers, as the characters lose themselves in the hunt.
Do you think he saw the film in our theater and was inspired?
Are you sure there's nobody else in the house?
Although its open-ended nature can be confusing, Zodiac is a nuanced work that gives us plenty to think about. Number 19, Almost Famous. A coming-of-age story, this film is more about the characters' traits and personalities than the plot itself. It follows teenage journalist William's tour with an up-and-coming band, whom he grows too attached to.
Looking on, she sings her songs, the words she knows, the tune she hums.
Although things do get heavy as different problems come to light, the movie is largely heartwarming in the way it calls back to the rock mentality of the 70s, with a particular focus on its music-based backdrop. There are plenty of moments that give us a taste of the exciting rock star lifestyle. Of course, William's experience teaches him that there's more to life than the supposed glory of fame.
You guys are always talking about the fans, the fans, the fans. She was your biggest fan, and you threw her away. And if you can't see that, that's your biggest problem.
But from the fun times to the tough times, this film is sure to keep you entertained. Number 18, Casino Royale. Daniel Craig's debut as James Bond ushered in a new era for the franchise. Presenting a younger Bond who's a lot rougher around the edges, Casino Royale shows the agent in a gritty and more complex backdrop. Focusing on Bond's mission to bankrupt evil financier Le Chiffre, it also depicts the protagonist truly falling for his partner, Vesper Lynd.
You're right.
I can't resist waking you. Every time I do, you look at me as if you haven't seen me in years. It makes me feel reborn.
A departure from the relatively flashy style of the series, Casino Royale is devoted to humanizing Bond by focusing on his vulnerability and tendency to make mistakes. The inclusion of practical effects make the action feel authentic, and there's enough classic James Bond charm to delight longtime fans as well.
The name's Bond. James Bond.
Number 17, Mean Girls. We've all heard of or experienced the pains of high school drama and clique mentality, but Mean Girls takes it up several notches.
Girls who don't need anything, desperate wannabes, burnouts, sexually active band geeks, the greatest people you will ever meet, and the worst.
Here, teenager Katie is a fish out of water who's unaccustomed to American schooling and must find her place in Girl World. Among the most quotable movies to be released in recent memory, it acknowledges teen slang in humorous ways while sticking to its premise.
Regina wanted me to tell you that she was trying to hook you up with Aaron, but he was just interested in getting her back. And that's not Regina's fault.
No, I know.
Okay, so you're not mad at Regina?
God, no.
Oh, okay, good, because Regina wanted me to give you this.
It also contains characters that allude to the stereotypical personalities found in high school, but ultimately gives them more depth than you'd expect. Although there's a lot of laughs to be had, Mean Girls successfully depicts the pitfalls of such a class-based environment. In doing so, it shows viewers that there's always another way.
I had gone from homeschool jungle freak to shiny plastic to most hated person in the world to actual human being.
Hey.
All the drama from last year just wasn't important anymore.
Number 16, Pan's Labyrinth. Essentially a dark take on the classic fairy tales we know, this story is about young Ophelia who's swept into a labyrinth by a mysterious being. Soon, she learns that she's the reincarnation of Princess Moana, the person intended to one day rule the underworld.
Vuestro más humilde súbdito, Arte.
No, yo...
Vos sois la princesa Moana, hija del rey de Bezmorra, el reino subterráneo.
It's more of a cinematic experience than a straight-up fantasy, as writer, director, and co-producer Guillermo del Toro constructed an entire realm full of surprises. There's a combination of drama and horror, with Ophelia facing terrifying challenges while completing the trials that will grant her immortality. Plus, the special effects enable Pan's Labyrinth to appear as close to reality as possible.
Y habéis elegido bien, Alteza.
Venid a mi lado y sentaos junto a vuestro padre, que tan largo tiempo os ha esperado.
Considering the dark creatures that live in the film's domain, this makes for a unique viewing experience. Number 15, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Jim Carrey traded in his funny man persona for this one. He plays Joel, a man who decides to purge himself of the memories of his ex Clementine, who's done the same thing. As he revisits the times they shared before they're erased forever, he falls in love with her all over again.
Yes, I really like that you're nice right now. I mean, I can't tell from one moment to the next what I'm gonna like, but right now, I'm glad you are.
A creative take on the sci-fi genre, the story uses a blend of comedy and drama to portray how far a person can go to avoid facing a painful heartbreak. Although the main appeal is the dynamic between Joel and Clementine, the supporting characters are given compelling subplots that tie everything together. In the end, Eternal Sunshine presents the possibility that a maybe ever after might just be enough to go on.
But you will. Right now, I can't. But you will. You know, you will think of things, and I'll get bored with you and feel trapped, because that's what happens with me.
Number 14, Gladiator. Vengeance is always sweet, but even more so within a sprawling story that's designed to bring a note of catharsis. The film follows former Roman general Maximus, who becomes a gladiator to avenge the death of his family at the hands of the tyrannical Commodus.
Loyal servant to the true emperor, Marcus Aurelius. Father to a murdered son, husband to a murdered wife, and I will have my vengeance.
Gladiator is largely credited with reigniting interest in films about ancient civilizations, carrying a hard-hitting aesthetic even if it isn't historically accurate. The acting might just be the strongest aspect of the film, with Russell Crowe and Joaquin Phoenix really making us feel the resentment between their characters.
You would fight me?
Why not? Do you think I'm afraid?
I think you've been afraid all your life.
Along with the fantastic cinematography on display during the fights, the desire to see Maximus achieve his revenge never fails to suck viewers in. Number 13, Avatar.
You were talking like a chick. Is the Avatar safe?
Yeah, Doc. And you are not gonna believe where I am.
There's arguably never been a movie as visually dazzling as Avatar. It breathes life into its 3D effects, making Pandora appear like a world that's beyond anything we could have imagined. The story is about Jake Sully, who enters into an avatar of Pandora's Na'vi people to gain their trust while working to mine the area's resources. But his love for indigenous inhabitant Neytiri puts him on the path to siding with the Na'vi as they look to protect their homeland from humans.
And we will show the Sky people that they cannot take whatever they want. And that this is our land.
Avatar's landmark achievements in cinematography and design propelled it to become one of the most financially successful films of all time. Years later, its effects not only hold up, but remain a cut above the rest. Number 12, The Hurt Locker. While there's no shortage of war films out there, The Hurt Locker is one that dives into the psychological ramifications of being in such an environment. It depicts the struggles of American soldiers in Iraq who must contend with the difficult realities of battle.
I'm looking for the people responsible for Beckham.
Along with featuring captivating dialogue, The Hurt Locker throws viewers into the heart of the action by showing them the soldiers' point of view. Between watching them fight to stay alive and try to move on, you're sure to be on the edge of your seat the whole time.
Move him back! Keep that translator back! But the bomb was forced on him! Get him back! Don't move! Stay still!
While it definitely carries a somber atmosphere, the film is a chilling reminder that these things really do happen and deserve to be talked about. Number 11, Brokeback Mountain. This tragic Western drama spans decades, telling a complex love story whose themes are still relevant today. It deals with two men, Ennis and Jack, who fall in love but are unable to be together because of the societal taboos surrounding LGBTQ+ relationships.
But you didn't want it, Ennis. So what we got now is Brokeback Mountain.
We watch as they live the lives they think they're supposed to while contending with their unmatched connection and its never-ending impact. We'd be remiss not to mention the stellar performances by Heath Ledger and Jake Gyllenhaal, who make us believe in the forbidden love between their characters.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
Then why don't you just let me be, huh?
Through the men's relationship, Brokeback Mountain challenges traditional ideas of romance and family, and spotlights just how damaging prejudice can be. Number 10, Iron Man. Avengers Endgame arguably gave us the biggest payoff to long-term storytelling, and it's all thanks to Iron Man. The superhero's debut movie is also the MCU's first official entry. It features Tony Stark on his journey toward taking up the mantle of Iron Man, and the responsibility that comes with it.
I came to realize that I have more to offer this world than just making things that blow up. And that is why, effective immediately, I am shutting down the weapons manufacturer division of Stark International.
Robert Downey Jr. turned the character into a pop culture icon with his suave and charismatic performance. As such, Iron Man is credited with injecting much-needed comedy in the superhero genre without compromising on the explosive action. We'll never tire of the way the movie infuses Stark's path to becoming a hero with a sense of fun.
The truth is, I am Iron Man.
Watching him suit up is just as satisfying now as it was back then. Number 9, The Departed. The film that finally won Martin Scorsese his Best Director Oscar. The Departed is a crime thriller that captures your attention and never lets go. The cat and mouse premise follows two diametrically opposed men who go undercover, one within the mob and the other within the police.
You're not going to see him, you're not going to hear about him, except through me or Captain Queenan. You will not ever know the identity of undercover people.
Billy Costigan serves as the Massachusetts State Police's informant, while Colin Sullivan fulfills the same role for Frank Costello's gang. Filled with twists and turns, the plot increases in tension as both sides attempt to cover up their involvement before their identities are exposed.
Costello trusted me more than anyone. Sound quality good enough? Because I was a little worried.
What do you want?
I told you I want my identity back.
The story doesn't hold back, dealing with themes of morality, corruption, and justice in a thrilling yet realistic fashion. Number 8, City of God. Filled with shocking moments, this 2002 picture lays bare the horrifying plight of people in Rio de Janeiro's City of God.
Por causa das enchentes e de alguns incêndios criminosos em algumas favelas. A rapaziada do governo não brincava. Não tem onde morar? Manda pra Cidade de Deus.
The story, told in part through flashback, focuses on the abundance of organized crime and the ways in which gang warfare regularly ruins lives. It follows budding photographer Rocket as he looks for, and struggles to find, a better life. There's no doubt the content will be disturbing for many, but it's also a thought-provoking tale of what people are forced to do to survive.
Pelo menos agora tu arrumou um emprego, né? Emprego não, estágio. Pô, estágio, mas tu tá ganhando dinheirinho, né, pô? Dinheirinho, merreca, mas pô.
At its core, the film depicts how carnage can be without meaning, and it makes a pretty compelling case. Number 7, Children of Men. When humans are unable to have babies for years on end, their existence is threatened, with society falling into a global depression as a result. Protagonist Theo Farron is tasked with transporting refugee Key, the only pregnant woman in the world, to a sanctuary.
Froley.
Name my baby Froley.
It's the first baby in 18 years.
The movie carries a healthy mix of chase scenes, grand set designs, and a fast-paced style that matches its tone. Director Alfonso Cuarón ups the ante even more through single-shot sequences that make audiences feel all the calamity. Children of Men is everything from an action thriller to a dark dystopian drama that looks into human behavior during times of mass panic. Still, there's a sense of hope that mankind will survive, making the film a must-watch. Number 6, No Country for Old Men. The Coen brothers have a reputation for stellar films, and this is one of their best.
I always figured when I got older, God would sort of come into my life somehow. He didn't.
No Country for Old Men is about three characters whose connected stories serve as the story's framing device. Assassin Anton Chigurh pursues Llewellyn Moss, who's found a lot of cash that doesn't belong to him. Meanwhile, Sheriff Ed Tom Bell investigates the case. Violence is a central motif in the movie, yet it never feels gratuitous, instead providing a commentary on the world it creates. And the gray morality of the characters is such that their motivations can be understood, at least to an extent.
You know what date is on this coin? No. 1958. It's been traveling 22 years to get here. And now it's here. And it's either heads or tails.
By the end, we're left contemplating if money can drive men to shed their principles, and whether they have a say in the matter. Number 5. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Set in 19th century China, this film is part of the wuxia genre, presenting a martial arts-based story that has the characters traverse the land. Its plot kicks in when protagonist Li Mubai's fabled sword is stolen, leading to a chase to recover the weapon. The fight scenes are so spectacular that they act as standalone art pieces. Yet the tale goes beyond that, incorporating love as a central theme through Mubai's feelings for Yu Shu Lian.
却带给我们更多的烦恼。
压抑只会让感情更强烈。
我也阻止不了我的欲望。我想跟你在一起。
What's more, the female characters are notably each one given a significant arc and part in the action.
在江湖上走来走去的，是不是很好玩？
走江湖靠的是人手，讲信讲义，应下来的就要做到，不讲信义可就玩不长了。
It's easy to understand why Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon sparked major interest in the wuxia genre, though Ang Lee's distinct direction is hard to replicate. Number 4. Inglourious Basterds. Quentin Tarantino proved his filmmaking technique works in any genre with Kill Bill, so of course it also translates into this war film set in an alternate history. Inglourious Basterds depicts two distinct plans to eliminate Hitler, and takes us on a journey that leads to their simultaneous culmination.
Just take that finger of yours and point out on this here map where this party's being held. How many's it coming, and what they brought to play with.
The film's dark sense of humor somehow manages to fit perfectly into the war-based backdrop, thanks largely to the quirky band of characters on display. The sadistic personalities involved mean that everyone's out for blood in gruesome and creative ways.
Hey, Werner, I'm gonna ask you one last goddamn time. If you still respectfully refuse, I'm calling the Bear Jew over. He's gonna take that big bat of his, and he's gonna beat your ass to death with it.
Between the grim violence and questions of morality, it's no wonder the movie is beloved to this day. Number 3. The Dark Knight. Director Christopher Nolan skillfully played with larger-than-life themes earlier in his career with Memento. But this movie is on another level, presenting an epic battle between true evil and incorruptibility. The villainous Joker, portrayed masterfully by the late Heath Ledger, wreaks havoc on Gotham City, testing Batman's grit and resolve in the process.
See, madness, as you know, is like gravity. All it takes is a little push.
There's something memorable in just about every scene, as the Joker seeks to create a state of permanent chaos. The movie immortalizes Batman as the symbol that Gotham needs to fight corruption, while also carving out Two-Face's tragic origin story.
We decided to act. We three. Then why was it me who was the only one who lost everything? It wasn't. The Joker chose me!
The Dark Knight set the gold standard for superhero films, encouraging the genre to embrace thematic qualities that go beyond the usual formula. Number 2. There Will Be Blood. A masterclass of studying a character to their core, this film follows Daniel Plainview across decades as he goes to extreme lengths to gain wealth and influence. He essentially sells his soul, even using his adopted son as a pawn to perfect his image.
Say it louder. Say it louder.
I've abandoned my child! I've abandoned my child! I've abandoned my boy!
Beg for the blood!
There Will Be Blood portrays ruthlessness building to its peak with each evil act, as Daniel resorts to lying, harming, and even killing. Although it seems bleak, the movie proves that living purely for personal gain can never bring true happiness, as the main character never finds fulfillment. This gripping epic has a lot to say, and it's all worth hearing. Plus, we won't soon forget Daniel Day-Lewis's amazing performance.
And starts to drink your milkshake. I drink your milkshake. I drink it up!
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. Slumdog Millionaire, a rags to riches story with a whole lot of heart.
Hey, Aramis, which is, I have to tell you, the right answer!
The Pianist. This tale is music for the soul. Lost in Translation. It proves that life crises can happen at any age.
Nobody ever tells you that.
Your life, as you know it, is gone. Never to return.
Shaun of the Dead, because it changed the zombie genre forever.
Player 2 has entered the game.
Ed! Before Sunset. Who knew a movie about walking and talking could be so invigorating?
Just the two of us, we're going to die. I mean, would we talk about your book, the environment, or...
If today was our last day.
Yeah, what would we talk about? What would you tell me, for example?
Number 1, The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. It's unlikely a fantasy film will ever again have as big an impact on cinematic culture as the Lord of the Rings trilogy did. Winner of numerous Oscars, The Return of the King wraps things up by depicting the final stand against Sauron and the destruction of the One Ring. There's no question that the film's visuals are incredibly appealing, as they perfectly depict the incredible war taking place. But there's also a deeply emotional and important story of brotherhood to be found. With thoroughly moving music and a tear-jerking finale, this farewell to the Middle-earth saga gives fans everything they could ask for and more.
My friends. You bow to no one.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.